Right, shout out to Keith on this one. I was discussing this one in Turnbulls this morning. I've been looking for a pressure drop on this system. And this cylinder is really hard to get to. It's up in the roof. I changed all the auto air vents the other day on the pipework. Changed one on the boiler. I've checked the heat exchanger. Checked it's all underfloor heating downstairs. Checked the underfloor heating auto air vents. They're not leaking. And I've just found this auto air vent on the back side of this cylinder and it's peeing out. So I've just drained it down. We'll get it changed. And hopefully a good result for the customer. I've been around with a thermal imaging camera checking the underfloor heating, but I just didn't see this for some reason. It's because it's so hard to get to. You've got to crawl through all the eaves. But we'll get this one changed and hopefully that sorts the pressure loss out. Yeah, so shout out to Keith. When you're changing auto air vents, just put a bit of JetBlue Plus or your favourite jointing compound on there. This is a RAS approved one. You can use it on gas, water, whatever you like. Obviously this is heating, so it doesn't need to be RAS approved anyway, but it's the one I'm using at the minute. And then just change your valve and tighten it back up. So it's a dead easy job. It just took some finding. I don't know why I didn't crawl all the way around the back of the cylinder, but as I say, I changed that one and the one on the boiler the other day when I came. It was actually a boiler lockout fault, but they said they kept having to fill the boiler up every day, so it was two separate issues. So hopefully it's a good result for the customer. The fastest way of draining these down is just through the fill loop on these grants. So just open that, obviously disconnect it off your cold side and just drain your heating that way. I just need to put some inhibitor back in this and fill it back up and then we should be good to go. Hopefully there's no more pressure drop. But I say check the PRV, had the PRV disconnected off the top and I've had the condense outlet off to make sure it wasn't dripping when it was cold, but couldn't see anything. The only other thing it could have been was the underfloor heating, but look, it was just that AAV. I'll quickly show you guys this while I've got the thermal imaging camera out of the van. This is my Bosch thermal imaging camera. It's used for I use it to find leaks on underfloor. As you can see, all the pipes and stuff in here, where they run. So I thought I'd bring this to this job, obviously, because we've got a pressure loss. But you can also do like cold spots as well on this. So it's got a cold detector, so you can sometimes easy to see the pipes like cold spots. So when you fill it back up, you can sometimes see that easier than the hot, I find. But yeah, really good bit of kit for finding leaks and heat losses and stuff like that. It's the Bosch, not sure which model it is. With the camera focus, yeah, it's just that one basically. So yeah, good bit of kit, but quite expensive, so not something you use all the time, but handy to have. Right guys, welcome to this job. Just arrived on site for the first time today. What we're doing here is we've got a new kitchen going in. All this lot needs ripping out. We're on oil here, by the way, so there's no gas. We're having a new boiler. It's currently, I think that's an original heat slave, non-condenser. They've asked for an external one to be fitted, but I'm going to try and talk them into having an unvented cylinder put here. It just says like for like, but an external one. But in my opinion, a combi is not going to be very good for this property, and I'll show you why in a few minutes. So we basically got that to rip out, an external one going in, new oil tank. I've not actually looked where the oil tank is yet. So in here, new kitchen. We're not doing anything else on the downstairs, so all this remains as it is. Obviously there's a couple of rads in here, wood burner over there, but all this remains as was. Upstairs we're having all new carpets and everything, by the way, as well. It's an empty property, so that's why I've not taken my boots off or put any protector down. We are moving. Basically this door goes, it's being blocked up or studded up. The door goes over there, so I'll have to have a look where the towel rail will go. Probably over here. I'm not too sure yet. I'll double check the plans. Not too sure what's in there, just a cupboard. I think must have been an airing cupboard somewhere. Probably the old airing cupboard was in there, but as I say, I'll have a word to see if we can get an unvented cylinder in. And we're also, I'll show you on the third floor. So this all remains the same. We're not doing anything with the radiators in here. Quickly show you the view. Not too bad. It's better than working in the city, in my opinion. And we'll show you on the top floor. So on the top floor, we've got according to the plan, this wall gets knocked about a bit and they're making an ensuite in here. So obviously we've got to get soils and hot and colds and stuff up into here. That's why I think a combi's not going to be a very good idea. So I'll have a word with them anyway. I'll sort it. I'm sure they'll be happy if we recommend an unvented cylinder. That's probably what they'll go with. So view from the top floor. It's very nice. They're turning this into like a children's home. So again, that's why I think an unvented cylinder will be a better idea. But I'll have a word with them anyway and see what they say. But yeah, that's pretty much the job. So got a bit to do on this one. The worst bit was just getting the soil up here and obviously the hot and colds and stuff. But I think the other bathroom's directly below. But we'll have a look anyway and we'll sort it. Right, we've also got this other ensuite on the middle floor, which shows it rejigged. It shows a bath under the window, toilet and basin, I believe. But this is where the soil pipe will come up to feed the bathroom on the top floor. So yeah, it definitely, in my opinion, it definitely won't feed it off a combi because obviously you've got 3 bathrooms going in. I know it's a storage combi, but even so, if you ran 3 showers or 3 baths at the same time, it's never going to feed it. It needs to be an unvented cylinder. So yeah, I'll have a word with them about that one. The other thing I forgot to mention on the downstairs, we're now in the garage. They're splitting this into 2 rooms, so they'll need some heating in here as well. I'm not too sure what these are. I think we're on the back side of the utility room, so the boiler is on the other side of this anyway. So it shouldn't be a problem to get the heating in here, but obviously we'll have to have a look at the drawing, find out where the walls go in, and obviously they'll insulate all this and brick all this up and lift the floor, whatever they need to do. I imagine floor need insulating anyway, so we might be able to run underneath, but we'll have a look at that in a bit. That's no major drama. I think the worst bit will be getting the soil pipe up, but yeah, just thought I'd mention this one quickly. Right, what I'm going to do is get all the heating and everything drained down. It's not working anyway. I've just spoken to that builder on the phone. He said if it's not suitable for a combi, we'll go back to the client, explain the situation. But I've also said it really wants, because it's a kids' home, it really wants a secondary return running to the top floor. Obviously, it's a fair way for the hot water draw off. Obviously for Legionella. So we'll look into that as well. We'll give them a price. But in my opinion, that's going to be the best solution. I haven't actually measured the water pressure, but I imagine it's okay. We'll double check before speccing it all up. We don't really have a lot of choice. We need to go unvented or pressurised to get the water to the top, basically, because there's no way for tanks to go. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do on this one anyway. I'm going to rip all this lot out. I'm going to rip the kitchen out and drain all the heating down, and that's what I'm going to do for today anyway. It's actually not a bad kitchen. Also, he says the wood burner, that wood burner is coming out as well. So that's what they want. So yeah, we'll crack on with this for today anyway, and then tomorrow I'll put a package together for them to obviously sort the whole job out. As I say, it's the first time I've seen the job. I've only sort of given them a rough price off drawings, well, not even really a price really. But we do all their work there. They're lovely people to work for, so there won't be any problems. So that's today anyway. I'm going to rip it all out, get everything drained down and sort it all out. Just a quick point I want to make about secondary returns if I do end up putting one in here. It will have to be in copper because most plastics like polypipe and speedfit are not approved for use with secondary returns. I mainly use copper anyway for everything. But yeah, just a quick point. Even if you've got a timer or something like that on it, it's still classed as a continuous loop. So you're not allowed to use plastic or speedfit or anything like that, polypipe. It's not approved for that use. It's not RAS approved, so it cannot be used. It cannot be connected onto a water supply. If it's a private supply, you can do what you like, but it cannot be connected to a I'm in the Anglian water area, but yeah, it basically can't be connected onto the water undertaker's supply. So yeah, anything that you install as a plumber should be RAS approved. So it's just a point I want to make on secondary returns really. Right, I've just removed this panel. It's already got zone valves on, so one will be heating. That's labelled underfloor heating. I'm not sure if there's a manifold somewhere. I'll have to have a proper look. But I think it's just feeding them. I think they've had an extension put on at the front. I think it's feeding them microbore, I believe. I'll double check it all anyway. When I get going on the job, you always find bits and pieces. But I think they've just used shotgun sockets and then just fed microbore to the front of the house, I believe anyway. But I'll have a look anyway. There might well be an underfloor heating manifold, but obviously it's got a combi care thing on it. Probably a dodgy junction box with no lid on. So yeah, that's pretty much the setup they've got now anyway. So as I say, I'll talk to the builder and see what they want to do. I'm guessing there's underfloor heating in this bit, so I think this bit's been an extension. Not too sure where the manifold is for it. I've looked in all the cupboards, all the likely places. I don't seem to be able to locate one, so hopefully, I mean normally with underfloor heating you'd have a blender on it, obviously to control the temperature. You wouldn't just put a zone valve. I'm just wondering whether that's what them 8mm or 10mm copper pipes are, if they've used that for the underfloor heating. I'll have a look anyway, and as I say, normally you'd have a blender and a manifold, but it'd be a bit of a weird setup if they haven't. So it's always in the last place you look. So them 22s that we saw in the garage earlier, they're coming through, and we've got a proper setup for the underfloor. So we've got blender and a pump, and obviously your flow and return. It's got a zone valve on, so it doesn't actually need the heads. So yeah, it's all correct. I was just a bit worried when I saw their microbore going under the floor, because sometimes people do all sorts of dodgy stuff. But I think their microbore just feed them 2 radiators over there. So that's all acceptable. So as I say, I was just a little bit worried when I couldn't see the manifold, but it's in this unit under the stairs. So that's all fine. The job keeps getting better and better. I just realised my mum needs a new dishwasher, so I'll probably get this one for Christmas, save buying her one. I think she'll be really happy with that. I think that'll go in her new kitchen, lovely. The dishwasher's all loaded in the back of the van. She's going to be well happy with this when she sees this on Christmas Day. It's even got an eco button on, look. It's going to take some wrapping up though. I've pretty much got all my Christmas shopping done from this one job. Found the dog a squeaky toy on top of one of the units. And I gave my dad a harmonica, but he said he wanted a bit of peace and quiet. Look at that, look. So, no need to go Christmas shopping now. All done. All I need to do now is find some wrapping paper. So this ensuite here gets all ripped out. The bath goes under the window and the toilet and stuff gets jigged around. So I'm going to get all this stripped out now. Back to plasterboard. All the internal stud walls need to be lined with plywood as well, according to the spec. So I imagine to stop the kids booting through it. So basically everything off. This gets studded up here, and then the door ends up where that radiator is. So obviously that radiator will need to be repositioned. So I'll have a look where it shows it on the drawing, but I'm going to get all this ripped out, and yeah, I'll get that done. Sorry about the noise of the extractor fan. There's not too much I can do about that at the minute. But at the minute the soil pipe runs in this box in, and obviously we've got the toilet and basin here. Well, the bath goes under this window, where the toilet is now, and then it shows basin there somewhere, and then toilet where the shower cubicle is at the minute. So we should be able to alter this soil pipe. I don't think there's a Durga or anything like that on it. So hopefully we should be able to alter all that and hide that all in the units. It should be okay. When you're ripping stuff out, you're kind of looking at the quality of the plumbing. Obviously the last guy, look at that flexi on that. That's what you call a Flexi Friday, that one. We've got 1, 2, 3. That's a beauty, that one. Just looking at this, where this waste is, I kind of wish that was 1.5 inches, because I could have used it then for the bath, but we'll have to take some of the floor up anyway. I mean, I'll find out where that soil pipe goes. I think that might be above the garage ceiling. There might be a loft hatch in the garage. So I might be able to find that and alter that anyway, and then bring a new bath waste in. I'll sort it, whatever, but as I say, if that had been 1.5 inches, I potentially could have used that again for the bath, but not to worry. But I thought that bit was interesting. Look at that, that's nearly, well, that's over 1 metre long, that. Right, I've got most of this bathroom all stripped out now. I'm just looking at the soil pipe, where the soil pipe's going, because what we've got, that drops into the garage, and downstairs they want a door. So I don't know how wide a normal door is, about 800 I think. I'm sure a joiner will know. So I'm going to have to try and keep the soil pipe as tight in this corner as possible to obviously leave width for the door on the downstairs. And this will then go up right through and then pick up the ensuite in the top floor. I'm not too sure of the route yet, but that's pretty much what it shows on the drawing. Well, it shows it, but it doesn't show it, if that makes sense. It just shows the soil pipe in the corner, but it doesn't show how it gets there. So I'll figure that bit out. Obviously, them hot and colds will need moving. They'll need to go under the floor, and then they'll need to go up anyway. So we'll keep everything tight in that corner. There's units going all along this wall. So we've got toilet, basin, and bath with a shower over the bath under the window over there. So that's what it shows anyway. So I think my job is going to be to have a look, see how this soil pipe's going to go. Right, I'm thinking behind that box then will be the soil pipes that ensuite. So what I'll do is I'll quickly whip this off, and then we'll be able to alter it according to how it needs to be for the new bathroom. So that's a bit of a look of it being in the garage really. So this is the soil pipe in the corner of the garage. It must run in the joists and go elbow through above. But on the drawing, it shows the doorway going through here, because obviously they're blocking this up and forming this into 2 rooms. And it shows that soil pipe being chopped in the ground, brought along, and then over here somewhere, and then boxed in, because there's a new like corridor being formed here. So obviously the ground workers and the builders will sort all that out. So I need to look through and try and get a new soil pipe through there, and that will go right to the top floor to form the new ensuite on the top floor as well. Right, the plot thickens with the soil pipe. It actually comes up from the garage. The garage is directly below here. It comes up into the corner of this bedroom, and then through. So obviously we need to move this at least 600mm or 800mm to allow for a door. So it's going to have to be over here and then through. So there might be a bit of boxing to do in here. I'll have a look anyway. I'll try and get this boxing off. They've used flathead screws, which is never fun. But we'll try and get that off without doing too much damage. It'll probably all come off anyway in the end, and then we'll have a look where the soil pipe actually does go. Right, we found this soil pipe. It's in the corner of this bedroom. What we've got here is a Durgo, or air admittance valve. It shouldn't really be boxed in that tight anyway, really, but we're going to make it a full stack. That's a T going through the wall into that ensuite that I just showed you before. So as I say, we need to try and get this moved over. Well, we're obviously going to put a new soil pipe all the way through, but at least we know where it runs now. A little bit of advice really. I'm not a professional on cracks, but if you ever come across any cracks like this and you've only just started a job, always take some pictures. Because they could say, oh, why you've been knocking around and stuff, it's obviously cracked, but you can see there's been a little bit of subsidence. That one's been filled in quite badly, but it's always worth just getting some pictures on your phone. At least then you can say, right, it was like that before we started. Obviously it would always be better to get like a structural engineer out to have a look at any cracking like that, but so that's probably not too bad. But obviously you don't want to get the blame for it. It's gone right the way across and up, and we're below the garage here. So I don't know, as I say, I'm only a plumber, not a structural engineer, but as I say, it's worth getting some pictures on your phone just to cover your back. Right, this is the room on the top floor that we're going to turn into the ensuite. It's being jigged around, but hopefully this is where all the services we can get into here. So we've got quite a nice, well, they're never nice, but we've got a reasonably nice crawl space. So obviously we've already got heating up here, flow and return. So we'll put a towel rail in there or something, or a radiator. Obviously we need to get hot, colds and potentially a secondary return up here, and obviously the soil's going to be the most difficult. But yeah, at least we've got a little bit of space in the eaves to work on this one. I'll tell you what I like to see. I like to see a nicely installed outside tap. I mean, you can't get any better than that really, can you? I mean, you don't really need the tap straight anyway, and I mean, rubber hose is probably better than copper in the long run anyway, isn't it? Another thing with outside taps is you require a double check valve within the thermal envelope of the building. I can absolutely put my life savings on. There won't be a double check valve under here. Should we have a look? No, we've actually used a compression tee badly, but there's no double check valve. I was half expecting it to be one of them self-cutting ones, but no check valve, so it's not compliant. Rubber hose isn't compliant anyway, but check valve's the big one really. Right, we've not actually got a lot of plumbing done today. We've mainly been whipping out and stuff, but it's just one of them days where sometimes you have to muck in and help out. So yeah, when I come back, at least I know what I'm doing now. So as I say, I'll have a word with them about what sort of hot water system they want. As I say, hopefully they'll listen to my advice, and we'll go from there really. So as I say, I needed to come out and have a look at this job, so I thought while I was here I'd start whipping the kitchen out a bit. But yeah, we're doing all right.